Hi there folks, it's Matt Hayson. In this week's market wrap, I'm going to delve into some of the data that's influencing our property market at the present time. Now, we all know about the auction clearance rate, but again, last Saturday, Sydney, a very strong performance, reporting 78.2% was the preliminary clearance rate on Saturday afternoon. However, here's the key thing I want to drill into. 407 properties were scheduled to go under the hammer in Sydney on Saturday, but as at Saturday afternoon, 348 results were actually already reported by agents across the city. That's the lowest level of unreported sales Sydney has recorded in 3 years, just down to 14.5%. So what does that mean? It means that agents are more rapidly reporting their sales results because they are seeing such strong auction success. Now, this has led to many market commentators suggesting that the Sydney market is now in boom time selling conditions. And some of the data is starting to support such a suggestion. SQM research during the week noted that their leading indicators are showing that Sydney is going to see price increases of around 2% for the September quarter, rising by another 4% in property prices for the December quarter, which is quite staggering. One of the big contributing factors around this confident market is interest rates. I reported on this last week, but if you are an owner-occupier, you can now get a 5-year fixed interest-only loan at just 2.99% and even lower if you look around. But here's the big one for investors who are surging back into the market, particularly around a volatile share market. They can now get a 5-year fixed loan, interest-only, at 3.69%. Now, many assets which are on the market at the present time are showing a 4% return. So therefore, some investors can now get a neutral, if not positively geared, investment property. Now, another key thing which is contributing to this confident market is the low level of property which is available right across the country. As I bring up this graph here, you can see that nationally fewer and fewer properties have been selling since 2012, with 2019 being the lowest level we've seen in over a decade. Now, one of the key reasons, or some of the key reasons behind this, is there's been rising house prices and transactional costs have exponentially grown over the last decade. We're also seeing changes to lending and borrowing standards contributing to that, and also lower wage growth. But in 2019, one of the key reasons why we're seeing fewer people selling is it does seem as though many people are reducing debt, which is quite critical. Now, the last graph that I want to delve into this week is produced by SQM research, which shows the correlation between nominal GDP and Sydney house prices. You can see here on this graph that Sydney house prices, despite a 2-year downturn, are still 21.9% overvalued. But don't despair when you look at the graph over the course of the 1986 time period, that Sydney house prices are on an average overvalued by around 19%. Now, the last peak was at 51.6% back in 2017. And what's really interesting now is if this market gets a bit of a run on, as it's expected to do with falling interest rates, and we're seeing price growth already, is what are the regulators going to do? So some interesting things and dynamics occurring in the market, that's for sure. Which leads us into this weekend, folks, where we've just launched some amazing, stunning residential property for the buyers out there, and our entire team looks forward to seeing you out and about. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all next week.